Where are they?
They're probably upstairs.
They never answer the door. Oh, wait. It's Monday night.
They're on the second floor.
Hey guys, welcome back to Second Floor Sessions. This is the episode that we spoke of that is so special. So we are on the road at the BioPet Lab here in Knoxville, and we have got the CEO, Jay Retinger, on board with us for the podcast. So you can see the lab in the background. We are here. So I think we're going to do a few episodes from here and bring some other guests in, so it ought to be good. But today, we're going to learn about Jay.
And on the road
the BioPet.
with Jay. So let's just get into it. Jay, start us from a child. Let's learn a little bit about.
By the way,
Jay.
thanks for joining.
Hey,
Absolutely.
and first of all, thank y'all. It's
Yes.
a big honor. And I think it's cool. I forgot there's a second floor, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yep,
And
yep.
we're on the second floor.
We are
We
on the
are on the
second
second floor.
So it's even more perfect.
It is. It's meant to be.
Yeah, there we go. And it will stay on the second floor. All right, so we're starting from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll try not to bore you all too much. Y'all are East Tennessee guys.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up here in Knoxville, in West Knoxville. Born, I don't even remember what hospital it was. It may have been St. Mary's at the time, which doesn't even exist anymore, downtown. My parents, I remember I was born on a football Saturday. My parents had moved to Knoxville. My dad was getting ready to go to his first Tennessee football game, and Mom went into labor.
You screwed all that up.
Yeah, I messed. Yeah, it was, and so I think he boycotted it for like 15 years, but we finally got him back. But born and raised here in Knoxville, West Knoxville, actually went to Bluegrass Elementary, a great school. Back then, that area, you went into Farragut Middle School, right? And then into Farragut High School. And it's funny, nowadays, that whole area goes to Bearden, which was, growing up, that was our rival. But
Okay.
grew up
That's
in
the
Knox-
area now. Okay.
Yeah. Grew up in Knoxville, I don't talk about this much, especially I try and keep some stories away from my children. Was not a good kid, a little bit of a problem child. Grew up in daycare, had to go to a couple different daycares. A few of them asked me to leave. Have y'all been kicked out?
Hey, no.
Were y'all daycare kids?
I wasn't. I
You
wasn't.
weren't? Okay.
I did some, not forever, but yeah. I think whenever we became me and
How
my
do you
brother,
get kicked out of
got so
daycare?
wild. We had to go to daycare, but
Right, yeah. I don't know. I mean,
doing something
You got to
shouldn't
get
do.
this kid out of here,
I don't-
ma'am. It's not working.
there's some stories I can't tell.
No, that's fine. That's
Just
fine.
checking. I just always push the limits. That's my thing. Like I'm always been curious. I've always pushed the limits. My wife still says I don't believe in rules. Like a rule sometimes is made to be broken, right?
Absolutely. No, I
And it's there because somebody's done it too.
Now I blame ADD. Back then they weren't diagnosing it like they do now, right?
Yeah.
So I just blame it.
Own it. Own it.
Yeah. Now my kids, but they'll use that as an excuse. See, we
Oh,
got
yeah,
ADD.
yeah,
We got ADD from Dad.
Yeah, right.
Kid, yeah. So grew up in Knoxville, graduated from Farragut, and I stayed here in Knoxville and went to UT.
Okay.
So went to Tennessee. Probably one of my favorite things about Tennessee was my freshman year was the year we won the national championship.
Oh, nice.
So,
Okay.
I got to be there when football was
At its
awesome.
prime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Storming the field at Arkansas, when we almost lost that game.
Yeah.
That Clint Stern, fumble,
When he left it laying there.
left laid on the ground. I think we beat Florida at home that year. I mean, we went undefeated.
Yeah. Barely. That Arkansas game was over.
Oh, it was over.
Yeah, it was over.
Yeah. Which I guess we got football coming up in a couple weeks.
I know. I'm excited.
Y'all ready?
Yo, I'm
Oh,
ready.
I'm ready for
I'm
it, for
ready.
sure.
We'll see.
How do you think we'll do?
I don't know. I've been told that we're ranked 20th. I don't know if that's high, if that's low, if that's what. I
It may
tried.
be generous.
I've decided to not
get your hopes up.
allow it to to dictate how I'm going to feel.
Right.
So I look forward to it every year, and I watch it. And if I'm not watching, I'm listening to it. But I don't know. I don't know.
Now, I'll tell you, and I almost left this out, but we'll come back to it. Probably a key thing for me growing up that relates back to BioPet, why I'm here today, is my mother, growing, like her whole professional life, worked for a man named Tom Boyd. So, and Tom Boyd is a serial entrepreneur here in Knoxville, has many businesses, and for about 40 years, he had a business out in Forks of the River Industrial Park. Y'all know where that is, up John Sevier Highway, called Shock. And so they manufactured, I think he had a patent, and they manufactured the electric fence for cattle. So it was a big manufacturing place. They also made some other farm goods, wire fencing materials. But growing up, because I was such a problem child, I'd get kicked out of daycares and things like that. He broke every child labor law that existed. And I guess statute of limitations has run out at this point, right? And he'd put me to work in the summers. If I was suspended from school, and I had to go into work with mom, he put me to work. So, fast forward, so I go to UT. I graduate UT. I come out of.
Now, what did you go to UT for?
I went for
graduate
college.
with?
I went for partying
Right.
and fun in school.
Well, if you graduated, you got something out of it.
Yeah.
So what'd you?
So I did about a 6-year program,
Okay.
and they finally said, "Hey, you got to get out of here." So,
Dang, got kicked out of daycare and UT.
well, what we did is we looked at my schedule in my classes, and I had enough for political science and a minor in public relations. So that's what we went with, and I graduated.
Okay.
And so another thing too, I started school. I'm young for my age. I started school when I was 4 because kindergarten, because my parents said, "You got to get out of here." So I graduate college, and I'm young, 21, I think. Still had no clue what I wanted to do. So I spent a couple years doing things. I worked for a local funeral home.
Yeah.
One of the greatest jobs I've ever had. That may be a whole nother episode. And if you want to, Rose Mortuary over here, if you ever want to sit down with those guys, they got some stories.
I bet.
But I'd stay the night there by myself. Like, it was just great. It was huge lessons in dealing with people, things like that.
Yeah.
Delivered some flowers for a little while, and finally realized, like, I've got to get a real job. And so knew a guy who was part of a healthcare company out of Nashville that did some consulting to hospitals, and he said, "Hey, we're hiring. Why don't you come work for us?" It was called AIM Healthcare at the time, a small startup company, and so I went to work for them and loved healthcare, learned healthcare inside and out. I mean, and healthcare is a mess. Like, it is designed to confuse people. It's our most consumed thing that we have, right? Like, do you all understand the plans you have?
Not fully. Regardless.
They're terrible, and I think they're a scam. That's what I think.
It is.
Yeah, it's a freaking scam.
It's an invented industry when we lost manufacturing.
Yeah, the pharmaceutical side of it runs everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a mess, but there's some good and some bad, and it's a very intriguing industry. And when you kind of start to figure out the mathematics and how things work, it's kind of fun. And so I spent probably 10 to 12 years in healthcare doing healthcare technology, sales, consulting, and then started to have a family. Got married 2006-ish. I convinced this girl that, like,
You were the one.
that I was the one.
You have to have me.
Best scam I've ever run. Yeah. I'm still trying to hold that Ponzi scheme up, but it was good. And she was a Knoxville girl. We started having a family. And I went to work for a local company, Team Health. I guess I can say that. Y'all ever heard of them?
Yeah, I think so.
So they were big, public, and they're still big. They're huge, great company, publicly traded. Loved it. I mean, phenomenal. But over time, because healthcare can be a mess, they went from being publicly traded to made some acquisitions, mergers, and came off the market. And at that time, I could see that I enjoyed this corporate life. I enjoyed the things I was doing. I was leading teams, managing teams, but that there may not be a career path, or it may have been stalled because of some of these changes. About that same time, my mother, who was still working with Tom Boyd. So at this point in time, what had happened to that company, Shock, that manufacturing company, Tom had sold it in about 2005, 2006. The man cannot sit still, has never been bored a day in his life. And so what he did is he invested in a human colon cancer research company. And my mom went with them. They started to do some things, invested in this organization, and they realized they had never had a non-cash generating business. It was a research company where you just put money in. So it's saying, hey, how can we generate some money? Why we're investing in this? We've got all this equipment. We had a lab space. So they actually started a company called BioPet Vet Lab, which did outsource veterinary testing. They grew it a little bit. They had a couple employees. It wasn't doing great. It was helping pay the bills, but they realized that the turnaround time and the demand for this testing, like you had to have people overnight running tests, working 2 a.m, and it wasn't great. But they had hired some really smart scientists that actually had genetics background, and they formed BioPet and started doing some animal genetic stuff. And it started with working with breeders on lineage testing. They were doing a little bit of breed work back then, some breed testing, some different things. Still had a handful of employees. And so that's probably 2008, 2009. I'm still in healthcare. And it was about 2016 when I decided, hey, we may need to make a pivot here. My mother had some health issues, and she was BioPet was in limbo at the time, or they were in limbo. They were growing a little bit, but they were trying to figure out, what are we going to do? They had a couple scientists come up with our poop wrench program, right? And we're going to come back to that, right? Or you tell me when we start diving in. But they came to me, Tom and my mother came to me and said, look, we think this has some potential. And over the years, they had, I'd helped, maybe done a few things, or they'd come and said, hey, will you come work with us? And I always said, you're crazy. Like, I'm in healthcare. We're saving lives. You're talking dog poop and dogs. Like, you're out of your mind. But it was something in 2016, I thought, you know what? I've always been curious. I've been an entrepreneur. I love people. I love to kind of push the boundaries. There may be something.
There might be something here. Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Why not? Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. My wife was saying absolutely no. Mm-hmm. But something in my heart said, you know what? Like, let's try it. Mm-hmm. And so I came on board at BioPet.
So it kind of like you had said earlier there. So it kind of started from him a little ways.
Yeah.
So it wasn't you're not the actual founder, but
I'm not a founder.
But you took it and ran with it.
And not me. Like, when I walked in, we had a phenomenal team.
Okay.
Like the handful of employees, between my mother, and we've got an operations customer support leader named Wynn, and our lab director Chesley. They've been doing some great work. Mm-hmm. They just needed some support and help. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, and I don't know if we cut this out or not, sometimes I joked that when I first came on board, if I could just take Tom to go play golf and leave everybody alone, we'd be more successful.
That's the way they all are.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Get them out of the way.
Now people say the same thing about me.
they may be in today.
Just taking Jay to go play golf.
Yeah. Do y'all get the same thing sometimes?
Yeah. Well, I don't get. Well, I don't know.
Sometimes it doesn't feel like if I'm not there, it's not going to operate correctly. Now, whether that's wrong or right, I don't know. I'm sure other people.
It's above us. It's the next step above us, or me anyway.
You come back and inventory's all off.
Oh yeah.
But we had about 8 employees. Poop Rents had started to grow a little bit of legs. We were in several states. We were probably serving maybe 500 customers, a little more. It was this niche thing that we knew, hey, we're on to something, but how do we take this and double down on it and expand it globally? Mm-hmm. And so
let's stop right there. And let's ask you, at that point that you're at right now in the story, what were you guys doing then with the dog crap?
Yeah. So
is it where it's at? I know it's not where it's at now because of technology, but let's see where you're at right there.
Yeah. So where we're at that point. So here's what happens. You've got this animal genetics company. It's run by a serial entrepreneur. It's got a lot of ideas, great ideas, right? But in some brainstorming sessions, and really among some of the science team, one of the scientists was living in an apartment complex. and there was dog poop everywhere. She came in and said, I've got a crazy idea. What if we can tell who's not picking up their dog poop? So from there, they said, I don't know, let's try it. And they went locally and started talking to property managers and different people, like, is this a problem? And they found that it is one of the top 3 problems in multifamily, in apartment communities, condos. And like, oh wow, this is real.
Yeah, that falls in their top 3. That's a big deal.
Yeah. And so basically, what the science team had figured out, some of them, like our lab director, Chesley, brilliant's got a forensic background. And what they figured out is just like CODIS takes a sample of DNA that is found on the crime scene, pulls a profile from it, puts it in a database, and then takes a reference sample, takes a profile from it, puts it in the database, and they crunch it and compare samples and match samples. Like, we can do the same thing with dogs and dog poop. So at that point in time, you had an idea. They were starting to get some early adopters, some customers. Like I said, you may have 400 or 500. They had gone out and said, hey, we need some distributors. Like, can we create a wholesale network that can help do this? They were running things off spreadsheets. They had a little bit of a database. We're working on a patent and finishing that up that crunched, the profiles. And you really had one sales guy. And so what we started to do is we sat down and said, okay, and really too, what it was this novelty, like super science program, super like detective, DNA program that sat over here that served and was designed for a multifamily industry, but we weren't a multifamily company. We kind of waited for the phone to ring. Mm-hmm. We were talking to some municipalities, like, can you use this to clean up cities and things like that? We're putting some materials out, but we weren't pursuing the customers or really designing things for our target audience. And so we sat down in 2016, 17 and said, all right, we've got people, we've got wholesalers. We don't have any corporate sales teams. How do we start to put some teams together? What do our customers really want? How do we start to get invested in the industry, go to trade shows? What kind of stuff do we report in our database? They really, is it too sciencey over here for a property manager to tell somebody, hey, you didn't pick up your dog poop? Mm-hmm. And so we started making these changes, redoing our database. We started building sales teams, building relationships, and it took off. So
a question. I've thought about this ever since Bo told me about that we were coming to you.
Yeah.
So how exactly, tell everybody how exactly it kind of starts. So my thought is, okay, they send you who is the guy that sends you the first sample of poo?
Yeah.
Who's the is it the property manager, or do you have somebody that goes out, the way I'm thinking about it, So okay, we've got a sample of it.
They rope it off a crime scene tape.
What's it look like here? And you're out there.
We have a Poop Prince helicopter. So they call us, and we go land at the property.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And we've got earpieces in, and we're
scoping it out. Okay,
making sure everything is clear.
I love it.
And then we take our little knife over there. I wish one day.
Oh yeah. Well,
so
sky's the limit.
Yeah. So here's the thing: in the beginning, it varied. Mm-hmm. And that was the thing. We didn't have standard programs, protocols, rollouts. We have a guy named Brock in Virginia who he would go get these customers. He lived in his car and he'd go drive around to their properties and collect poo for him. But then you had a guy who maybe covered 4 states out west that couldn't do that. So he was training property managers.
Okay.
So what we did is we sat down and said, okay, let's talk about how we want this to work. Mm-hmm. First of all, you got to have dogs registered. So what happens is, how do you create a welcome kit and a registration funnel to where when somebody moves into an apartment community and owns a dog, they get a kit and they swab their dog. So that's
kind of what I was wondering how it starts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you move in, you say, hey, I have a dog.
This is what you have to do when you move into this apartment complex.
I see.
You register your dog.
Yep.
That's so okay.
Yeah, and so you get it like they build it into the lease. It's a requirement. You know how you got to pay pet rent, pet fees, and all this stuff. And it's like, all right, you got a dog. This is this program. And back in years ago, and probably sometimes even still today, pet owners look at the property manager, cross-eyed and say, "You do what?" It's becoming more of a known thing. But you get this welcome kit. It's got a swab, a registration card, a swab in there. There's just simple cheek swab, and you even get an identification tag that you put on your dog so the property manager knows they're registered. Then you always have a program administrator on site, whether it's the property manager, maintenance manager. Then we have these proprietary poop collection kits. I call them shit boxes. We can bleep that one out, right? Yeah. For all you at home. And they keep those on site, whether it's on the maintenance cart, whether they're in the office, and if they do, patrol the grounds, or if a resident calls to the front office and complains, it's like, hey, there's a pile by the pool. They take that kit, they go take a sample, and they send it to us. So what we did is we started standardizing that we wanted it to all be handled by the property managers. Mm-hmm. They register the dogs, they collect the poop.
Okay. So I guess, so when they get that swab, when they register that dog with the complex, it comes back to you.
Yep.
And then it's in your database.
Yep.
And then, I done that with my dog. We'll say if we done that, and then I'm at that complex and I'm like, I ain't picking that up. And then that manager comes by, or the grounds guy or whoever, just like, okay, well, so who this is.
Yeah.
And then they're coming for you. And then there is there's a charge for that.
Yeah. And great question. So we charge per sample. Mm-hmm. And that's been our model. And we'll get to this in a minute because we're actually in the middle of flipping our revenue model.
Yeah, we're still in 2016
We're
right
in
now
16,
on the surgery.
Yeah.
Or on
and
the
it's
story.
2016. And so we're charging per registration, per waste kit, mm-hmm. right? And then when you send that poop into us, we charge for the processing of that. Mm-hmm. Now, all these properties, they have fines built in place. Mm-hmm. And the fines have existed, and we're not talking small fines. Like, a lot of people, like, if you go back and look at dog poop history, like, now who goes back and reads dog poop history? Probably me.
Jay,
some of our
Jay
team,
does.
yeah, and our team loves it. We have Google alerts that are around dog poop. Like, do y'all use any Google alerts where you can set up different phrases and you'll get a daily email on Google searches or articles that have those phrases?
No, I've never done
I
that.
hadn't even heard of that.
You should try it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a couple that we use. And the materials and the links you'll have episode content for years. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, it's awesome.
So I lost my train of thought there. You pay for, per sample. Mm-hmm. Where are we? We're in 2016.
So paid for the samples. So we are now I'm wondering, like, okay, the complex.
Yep.
You charge the complex.
Yes.
For that, all
Service.
of that.
For that, yep.
And then the guy that's not picking up his stuff, he gets charged.
That's right. That's where we were.
Yeah.
So they have fines,
Mm-hmm.
and they've always had fines. So we're going back to dog poop laws and history. New York City was the very first city in the United States in the 70s to implement what they called scooper laws, where you could get a $250 to $500 fine if you did not pick up after your dog. Apartment communities, complexes have had the same rules in effect since then. But the only way these people could enforce them was if they caught you in the act. Mm-hmm. So that's where our program helps. So, yeah, so what happens is that maintenance guy comes along, he scoops that piece of poo, mm-hmm. he sees that it's, and the database at this time in 2016 is only accessed by the property manager.
Okay.
So they get it comes to us, we check it in the database, they see where it is, they get lab statuses. When that match hits, is what we call it, when that match hits, they get notified. They come to Matt, knock on his door, mm-hmm. give him a letter and say, hey, you owe us $250 you didn't pick up.
Mm.
So,
wow, okay.
And Matt's like, hey.
Mm-hmm. It ain't mine.
Yeah, it ain't mine.
Uh-huh.
And so we actually built in processes. We have what we call DNA verification test, and we have we went out and we're ISO accredited lab. So it's an international. Are y'all familiar with ISO? You can get ISO, and a lot of manufacturers, pharmaceutical companies, healthcare. It's the International Standards Organization. So they set all these standards. Say if you're going to be in this industry and do these things,
oil has all that,
Yep.
all your oils and stuff.
Yep, you got to function by and meet all this criteria. It comes down to audits and things like that. So we went out and got accreditation. That helps, right? Because nobody wants to receive a scientific result and a $250 fine from a dog food company. And they're all like,
They're not even certified.
yeah, they're not certified. Like, is this guy in his
I can do
garage?
this.
Yeah.
I can do this. Yeah.
So we got certified, and then we created processes that, everybody has the right to contest something. So we do DNA verification tests where basically you come back down to the office, you re-swab your dog, it gets sent in to us, and that sample is compared against all the samples that are on file for that record. So the original swab, the matched weigh sample, and we report that back. So now here's the fun thing. People are like, well, it's rigged. Like how, you're just gonna say it's automatically mine. Part of ISO is that all of our samples are blinded. So like our lab workers, our DNA analysts, they only see a number. They have no idea where this poo or this swab came from, and nor do they care. They have production and quality numbers to hit, so they're just processing the whole time. So they have no idea
Whose dog it is, where it came from,
they
is
don't
it in
care.
this state, is it in another state? Yeah, they don't know.
Now, we did, and then, we did have some that came back and they didn't match. Now, what happened is then we sat down and said, okay, and our, like I say, our science team and Chesley and her team are brilliant. So they'd sit down and have to do this reverse math and start looking at when it was processed, when it was, what plate it was on, when it went through the machines. And what they realized is, a lot of times as our property managers were registering dogs, and like they'd have a dog party, or, I forget. They'd have served margaritas, and they, what do they call them? Paul Rita. I don't know. There's some dog.
No, I had no idea. I've never heard of that.
The dog party terms that exist.
Okay.
It's a whole nother culture.
Yeah, I'm not in
Yeah.
it.
But they'd realized that some of these swabs would sometimes get mixed up during these big events.
So like I swabbed this dog, but put it in this dog's bag.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
So
weird.
it doesn't
So-
come back to y'all. It's on
Yeah.
it's on them. At that point.
Right. So then we'd work with them, and we created better registration processes and kits to kind of help limit some of that, some of our numbering and barcodes and all kinds of stuff.
That's wild. So you're telling me
this number on this swab has to go with this number
So
on
you're
this. That kind
They
I know
have
the
to
answer
match.
to this,
Yeah.
but this is wild. So a stray dog gets out right over here, and it comes over here and it takes a poo right in your lot.
Yeah.
And it's whatever reason you go out there, you scoop it, boom, it goes in there, and you call Sally up. Hey, Sally, your dog come over and took a dump. And it's that. I mean, that's how it works. I mean,
Right.
that's it.
But that dog's not in the database.
But
That's what I was going to say. It could, or if it was in your database, if it was in your database, it would pull that it's
so-
Miss Sally's dog.
Yeah, so what happens in those, because you'll get those, what happens in those cases is we pull a profile, but we call it a no match. So what happens is we have run that waste sample. We got a viable DNA profile, but it does not match any dogs in your database. Now, what we've learned over the years.
Can you tell what dog it is? Like what kind of dog?
So-
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet.
All right.
Now, technology, and we'll as we get into 2025 and 2026, we'll talk about some of that, but we still don't use that in our poo prints program.
Okay.
So the best thing about poo prints, I referred to CODIS and the FBI earlier. It was built off the forensic science that exists there. So when you create a profile, you're creating a unique genetic fingerprint that is unique to that dog and differentiates it from any other dog in the world. So even litter mates. So
Wow.
so it is
Going
that
down
dog's
to
profile.
that particular. Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't look at breed. We don't look at any of that. But what happens is we keep that no match. We tell you, hey, this matched. I mean, this didn't match. It has DNA, but it does not match any dog in your database. And then we work with those communities. What we started learning is the registration process wasn't always great. Like, or you've been living there for 2 years and your girlfriend brought you a puppy. You didn't go down to the office and be like, hey, my girlfriend brought me a puppy. Sometimes you didn't go down there because you didn't want to pay the fee.
Yeah, you didn't want to pay the extra 2, 4, whatever, the money. Yeah.
But sometimes you just didn't know. And so we have heat maps. We started developing technology, mobile apps, where we would help them create better registration. And then we realized in 2018, 19, even a little bit before COVID, we couldn't just be the poo police. Like, pet owners want to know more. Pet owner, like, we got to reward good behavior. It is a cause for us. Like, apartment communities were going through like a time too where a lot of them didn't allow pets, but all these people had pets. You couldn't find a place to live. And what we learned through working with ASPCA and different organizations and different apartment communities, that if they had a program like ours where they knew, okay, we can let dogs in here and we can trust, we're going to avoid, you may have some nuisance around noise, you may have a little bit of damage, but we're not going to have dog poop piling up. We'll open it up to more dogs. So it's kind of a cause for ours, like how do we expand pet access and not be the poo police and be the bad guys. So we started building benefits in there and create, like we opened our database up for the pet owners. So we developed partnerships with companies like Chewy, Rover, where you get coupons and discounts as you get registered. And over the years, that has even evolved even more.
So I guess, do you have an outside salesperson that goes out and calls on these complexes and the all that sort of stuff? So you have a couple, 1, 2, or
so we've got, if you take what we call inside and outside reps, we probably have about 13 like outside sales reps.
Okay,
Because that's all over the country.
so that's all over
They're all
the
over
US.
the country. We serve all 50 states. We actually, today, and even, well, back then we were probably 3 or 4, but today we serve 7 countries. So now we don't have anybody like stationed, internationally. We kind of work it from here. But yeah, they are, we got Minneapolis, Boston, Salt Lake City, Chicago, Denver. We had somebody in Tampa. Atlanta.
Sure, all your big cities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What about in California?
Yeah, so we had a guy in California. We cover, right now we're kind of covering California from Denver. So
Okay.
there are some areas where you get, relationships are key. So how do you get these people out in the market, get to know these management companies, these property managers?
I guess those outside reps too. I guess they have cold calls too, don't they?
Yeah, sometimes.
just cold calling
Yeah.
people.
Sure
Big
they are,
complexes
and checking on everybody they got.
Yeah.
So in the way we measure potential is, they talk in units. Like if I've got an apartment building or complex, how many units does it have, right?
Right.
And so what we look at is how many properties exist in the United States that have more than 25 units, and it's 198,000.
Wow.
Good gracious.
Yeah. Now at the time, if we're still in 2016, we're only serving probably 2 to 3, 4, maybe 3 to 4,000 at that time. I remember when we were touting 5,000, and we're like, "Oh, we are making it.
We're doing it. Yeah, we're doing it.
And if we won't skip too far ahead, but we're hoping by the end of this year we will have crested our 10,000th property.
Goodness.
It's be a big deal.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Doubling up. That's awesome.
We'll do a second floor celebration.
Love
Y'all come back for
You
it?
probably have a lot of celebrating going on.
Maybe too much. Yeah.
Just keep your dogs, dog crap picked
Yep,
up.
you better watch it.
And that is our thing. I mean, like I say, it's a cause, it's a movement, and it became our passion, expand pet access, but it's dangerous. I mean, it's nasty. And the more processed foods now that you have and everything these days, that stuff, the chemicals and everything, it starts to seep into the ground. It's disgusting.
I had no idea. I'll be honest. I mean, I've lived since 2008. As soon as I got out of high school, I bought a house, and I've only been on a road of I'm on a dead end road, about a quarter mile long, and they just put in 9 houses, 8 or 9 houses on me. And these people come in. I mean, this is a field. It's a kind of a dead, like I said, a dead end road, and it's But all these people that are coming in, I can tell that they've got, they're walking. This used to be a field where I live, and they're walking their dogs through my yard and stuff. And I don't think that much about it, but and I'll be honest with you, I've never done it. I've only had 2 dogs in my, I've had 2 boxers, and I've never picked up after it. They go out in the back and they do their own thing, and these people are coming in. I'm like, what are you guys picking up this? It's a field. Just leave it laying there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm thinking they're weird, but I mean, here you are. This is what you
Probably been
thrive
fine
on.
before.
Maybe, yeah.
They've may have been.
I mean,
they may have been.
here's the thing. We're East Tennessee guys. We grew up with grass and space and yards and fields and woods. We're used to cows and manure.
Little rules.
Yeah.
Little rules.
And we thought it was fertilizer.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Right.
The yard's going to get real nice and green over there. Just leave it alone, right?
right.
I've never had picked up previously.
Right.
But the more you read about, so the EPA listed as one of the top 5 pollutants in the world.
Really?
No joke.
So if you go, and I mean, we don't have time for me to start just going on that soapbox, but I mean, they talk about in the Chesapeake Bay, fish and clams and oysters dying. In Tampa Bay, in the bay there, they have what they call the big green monster that has literally been traced back to runoff from dog poop from the cities.
Wow.
Jeez. I never would have thought about,
crazy.
picking them up. But when you get in a complex like that and you've got 100 and you've got a lot that's no bigger than, I don't know, maybe a half, 3/4 to, I don't know, we'll say over an acre or two of lot.
Right.
And you've got, 100 homes or 100 apartments or whatever. And then you've got, we'll say 30, 40 dogs in the 2-acre lot, then that becomes a big problem, a huge problem.
What percentage?
That's 80 piles a day.
You probably know this. What percentage of, say you've got 100-unit complex.
Yep.
What percentage of people have dogs?
40%.
I knew it was going to. I knew he'd know it.
And we
That's
call
a lot.
that, and I got to give Patrick, we got a great sales director, Patrick, got to give him credit. He calls it the doccupancy. So, you have occupancy, but we call it the doccupancy. Yeah. And it varies. It varies by market. It varies by, some people are really starting to loosen restrictions. You've got breed and size and all that.
Yeah.
If you have no restrictions, you're going to be 40% or more. If you have restrictions, you can run 20 to 30%.
Yeah.
But now senior living, like we're starting to work with senior living communities are growing.
They're crapping on the ground too?
Yeah. And now maybe they're too old to bend over.
Do you do anything in Tellico Village and like retirement? I mean, you're getting in there, I guess.
So we do. I mean, we do work with HOAs, condos. You get into like now in Florida and different areas, Arizona, where you have gated communities. They still may be like, out in Tellico, it's beautiful, right? But it's not really gated.
Right.
There's still a lot of yard, a lot of acreage.
Yeah.
But you get into these cities and these areas that you still can have some sizable lots, but it's gated. We'll do those communities.
Okay.
Yeah. But see, where I was going to, senior communities are starting to allow dogs. People get the 55 and older and they want to downsize and they've had this family pet. Well, they want to bring it with them. But they only probably allow they try and keep 10 to 15% of their units with dogs.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they'll die like the dog, and then they ain't gonna get another one.
Yeah. Or the dog lives on, and I guess inherits the place sometimes, right? And then who's picking up? We're hoping they've trained it to pick up after itself. We're working on that. You think maybe we can genetically modify them to pick up after themselves?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be hard. So 2016, you guys. Let's see here. So where does the story go now?
So, and let's say we're 2019-ish, right?
Okay.
Like, we're starting to invest in the industry. We're starting to develop, registration protocols. Like, what are just our standard practices? What is our brand awareness? We had a fantastic group of wholesalers at the time, but what had happened is, remember, Tom came from manufacturing. And so I tell this story a lot. He was used to distributors because you made a hard good and you sold it to that distributor. They went out and sold it. You didn't really need, there wasn't a service aspect. Not much was coming back. It was brilliant to get us going. We had to have people in different markets that could be out pushing it without investing a ton of money and hiring people and doing a bunch of stuff. But we started to realize that it complicated some things because you had different brands and different companies that some of them could be operating under. So in the multifamily industry, when you start talking about poo prints and dog poop DNA, sometimes they're like, well, I think we use your competitor. We're the only ones in the world. So we sat down, we had a fantastic group of distributors, wholesalers, and so we sat down and came up with like brand guidelines, brand policies. And through 2019, developing resident benefits and pet owner benefits, all this stuff, our growth started to skyrocket. We were hitting 6,000, 7,000. Then COVID hits. And our group, and it depended by market, but it was actually a pivotal year for us where a lot of businesses, especially even in what was interesting about multifamily in COVID is that the rest of the world were locked up. You're in your homes, right? Well, these communities were these people's homes. So that business never stopped.
Yeah.
And people got more dogs than ever.
Yeah.
So
Really?
Or you're home more than ever.
yeah,
I mean,
everybody went out and
That's
adopted.
true. Yeah.
Well, maybe the dog
Even being
stays
home more,
Yeah, I think adoption rates grew like 40%. Remember, there's stories of shelters emptying out. It was fantastic. And so, that year was an interesting year in the beginning. It was kind of flat. And then through 2020, 2021, skyrocketed. Adding more than 1,000 new customers a year. Phenomenal. But what we had started to realize right before that too is, hey, we only have so much equipment, so much bandwidth. We're processing hundreds of thousands of canine samples. Some of the other projects and revenue lines and things we had, maybe we kind of put them on hold or on the back burner and just focus on poo prints and dogs. Because if we can grow this volume that we're running through our lab to a certain point, we can start to add other genetic services. Whether we add them for our poo prints customers or we add them for other companies that are in the genetic space. So we come out of COVID, 2021, 2022, phenomenal growth. 2023, we had outgrown our space. We weren't here.
Okay.
And we knew, hey, we want to start investing. We call it lab services. We want to start investing in more genetic products, more offerings to more people. How do we run more and more samples here with the ultimate goal of everything we do makes poo prints cheaper. And we wound up, we moved out of we found this building and started redoing this building in 2023. And moved in 2020.
Well, it's absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
It is. It's absolutely. It's stunning for dog poo.
Yeah.
It is. It's absolutely.
It's the house the dog poo built. Right. It's beautiful.
It is. It's awesome.
Our team, they did a phenomenal job decorating. Like I'm sure y'all have built houses or moved with your wives, right? Probably don't ever want to do it again.
No. One time was it. That's
Yeah. So I am blessed to work. I work with my mother. She's still our COO today, by the way. Wouldn't be here without her. But between her and our lab director, we've got a fantastic team here. Majority women. I don't know if I've told them we'll never build another building with any of them ever again.
they all had an opinion.
Everybody, but they did great. They made it what it is.
Yeah.
So who's besides your mother, who's your longest employee? I'm just curious. Did anybody come with Tom?
Yeah. So it's funny. So my mother has worked with Tom, and Tom is still our chairman today.
Okay.
She has worked with him for 49 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
So you've got her. So BioPet is 2008. So her and Wynn Chandler worked at Fishock. Okay. And when Fishock closed, Wynn had gone off and done some other things. But when they started forming BioPet, Tom and Meg called Wynn and said, "Hey, we need an operations person." Mm-hmm. And Wynn is phenomenal. You talk about customer support and operations and getting logistics and things figured out. Amazing. So, and then you have Chesley, our lab director, who was here from the beginning. She was one of those. She was working I think she was an intern at UT Vet. Came on doing some stuff here, doing the vet, diagnostic testing. Had been studying human forensics. Had a little bit of a genetic background, and was one of the I guess godmothers, would you call them, or founding mothers of Poo Prints.
Okay.
Yeah. So those three have been here since the beginning.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome.
We've got our average tenure. We're pretty blessed because now we're up to 48 employees spread out. Our average tenure is probably, and we've got a ton of new people from the past couple of years, but it's still probably 5 to 6 years.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's good.
So
really good.
we have guys that were wholesalers or distributors that now work for BioPet. Patrick, our sales director, national sales director, I've talked about. He was a distributor. He was, and he was doing poop prints on the side. He was in the financial industry, and he decided to leave that and come work for us. Mackenzie, our customer support or customer experience and marketing director, she started here as an intern while she was at UT, and when she graduated, came on board full time. Yeah.
So I got a question.
Yeah.
I was just sitting here thinking about that when you're talking about intern. It just hit me. So here at Poop Prints, what is, not taken away from the position at all, but what's the beginning stages of Poop Prints? Like, where do you start at?
Yeah.
So what do you do?
So it's funny because that was one of our biggest challenges. When you're a one-stop shop and you have one revenue line, how do you create growth for people, right? Like our whole thing is we want to bring people in and we want to make them better than when we found them. Because if we do that, they'll leave us better than they found us. Like people will come and go. It's unfortunate, but if we're doing that,
business.
We're all going to win, right? So we had to start thinking about that because at the end of the day, it can just be high throughput production. It's no different than manufacturing. And so what the team did is we started building. There's different operational positions. We have account managers, client success, but in our lab, you start off. We have 3 levels of data analyst. Right. So earlier we were talking about the process, and you have everything from prep, like it's just getting those tubes ready, getting the materials ready that people are going to use. And then there's extraction, which is kind of its own unique science. So you learn extraction, and you're DNA analyst 1. You start to learn what we call PCR in the machine stage in our clean lab, the second step. You're a DNA analyst 2. So you can do all the prep, you can extract a sample, you can take a sample all the way onto the machine. Now, the third part of being an analyst is the data piece. Like how do you compare the DNA? How do you take what the machine has output? Because like with our Poop Prints program, when we put that plate on and run a sample, it really just produces a picture. And it looks like somebody threw up a Crayola crayon. Like if we pull up on the screen, it's just lines and colors. Well, each one of those lines is a DNA profile. You have to take that picture and put it in software and create that unique genetic profile. So that's DNA Analyst 3. So now you know the whole process from start to finish, and that was kind of our hierarchy. And what happens is we do see a lot of people come and go in the lab. As we've added genetic services and expanded things, we've had people stay longer because they can learn more around sequencing and different testing. But you'd have biology majors. So we get a lot of interns that are like biology majors, chemists, things like that. And what they're getting to do is in a lab at school, you may run 1 or 2 samples the whole semester. Well, we're going to run. You're going to work thousands in a week. And so they got to see that. Like, how do you actually apply this in the real world? Because we're also a forensic application. We went through a spell where we had to sit down with the TBI and say, "You got to quit doing this." Our analysts would come in. They would learn all these processes, all these protocols.
Oh, no. And then they're
TBI.
Oh, man.
As DNA. Now, maybe that was our good deed to the state. Yeah. Like we're stopping
How
crime.
Can you compare with that though? TBI, that's next level stuff.
Yeah. Now you're getting into forensics.
Yeah.
Right.
With people.
So
I just go down to Poop Prints and just snag a couple of them and bring them on.
Yeah. Crime is at an all-time low. We're catching more criminals because of Poop Prints. And not poop offenders, right?
No.
Yeah.
Oh. That's awesome.
Fixing the world's problems one piece of poop at a time.
Yeah. Saving the day one time.
So now when you these 3 stages that you talk of back in the lab there, so so, your entry level and then the next level and then the third level there, does that require any sort of certification or anything, or is it just, just like in any other job, like, okay, I think, we need to shift you up here. Is it that kind of thing or, or?
No, I mean, you prefer it. And as we get into more sophisticated genetic work, yes, there are people that we have hired that have master's degrees or even, PhDs and things in that field that can say, all right, we need to create this panel and do this. But and especially in the early days, our normal forensic poo prints work with the right training, the three of us can do it.
Right.
Now I've tried and they do not let me back there. And I'm just dying to learn how to extract a poop sample. And they won't do it. But and we've got a couple analysts that have been with us for a long time. They're some of our best analysts that had zero experience. Like they came in and learned it.
Yeah. And it's
they-
just clicked.
And they picked it up.
Wow. That's awesome.
So are we current now?
So yeah, so let's say we're 2024. We move into this building, and at that point in time, we realize we now have the space to expand. And to talk high level for a minute, our whole poo prints in itself, it's our baby, it's our bread and butter. It's one of the most unique genetic programs in the world, right? But what we've realized over the years is that to normalize it, because it's more than just matching poo to a pet owner, right? Like it's pet identification, it's proof of ownership. Technology is getting easier and easier around DNA and genetics. And so we're starting to think, hey, this can replace microchips. Microchip technology, there's 7 to 9 companies that exist. Sometimes the readers don't work. They don't put them in the right spot. Like high-end dogs that people smuggle and steal, you can just dig it out.
Yeah.
But DNA lasts forever.
So you're looking at now instead of looking at apartment complexes, you're looking at veterinarian offices.
We're looking at cities. Yeah, cities, veterinary offices.
Do you do vet?
Well,
Fixing to.
I feel
we're
like
fixing to.
I feel
Yeah.
like it could be like you could go to a veterinarian, place that they do that, and almost like, here's a package.
Yes.
I can offer it, I don't know the dollar amount, but just say, here's the dollar amount for your type of dog. I would recommend it, this, that.
Yeah.
So that's, and then they sell it to their customer and they could upsell it, whatever they wanted to do,
Yeah. So that's where we're going. So we realized to make poo prints, and it may not be called poo prints one day when you're working with cities and states and using DNA for registration. So overseas in the UK and Ireland, they actually you have an annual license fee. And some cities and states in the U.S. do it, but they're really strict over there. And so they will couple DNA registration with the license. So you go pay the government, your $50 a year, but
To what? On a pet?
to own a pet, to have a license,
That's crazy.
which that's a whole nother, we're getting there. There'll be a pet tax at some point. I mean, the strain pets are awesome and they're a family member, but there is
I feel like there would be such a opposing side to that.
There will be.
And it won't be, I don't think it will be the pet owners, because if you want to own a pet bad enough, you're going to pay that.
You're gonna pay the
Plain
money,
and simple.
yeah. Right.
It's there. It's in place. You're going to pay it if you
Absolutely.
want it, and it's $50 a year, whatever. I think that your pushback would come from all of your shelters. Look at all these dogs we already can't get adopted. You're going to make it that much harder where they got to pay something to get one?
Well,
That's what I feel like.
there is a little bit of that, but I think at the same time, if that money is used to help fund those shelters,
There you go.
because then that's the thing is you talk about shelters, animal control, waste control.
Yeah.
I heard, and this is sad to talk about, but I heard a Knox County mayor who we know years ago talk about they had broken down the cost. Unfortunately, dogs get loose, they get hit by cars.
Yeah.
It cost the city or county about $400 to remove that dog, somebody go out, remove that dog, and then dispose of it properly. Now, there's two things about it. One, who should pay for that? Two, wouldn't that owner want to be notified that the dog that has happened, right? Like how many posters do you see and you just never know?
Yeah.
Like you think Spot's off living with somebody else.
Yeah.
And unfortunately not.
No.
So it can cover a lot of things. But what we realize is, one, we've got to have more value than just profiling, and we've got to normalize DNA. Like, I mean, you did a DNA test, Bo, right?
Yeah, my wife did.
Yeah.
I did not.
Okay.
My wife did.
Yeah.
But after being removed from it for a while, I think it was good because now we know what the heck the dog is.
Right.
And I got tired of people asking me, so that's why.
So
And it wasn't like it wasn't affordable or anything. So I mean,
but it's that's a whole nother topic. So it still was over $100, probably. I mean,
don't remind me of that. If it was,
My wife
better
paid
not
over
have been.
$100.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what it
when
was.
he gets home, y'all are talking budget.
She'd say, "Let's go," because she's been begging me to for a while.
That may be the kicking off point. You may have got a Christmas special or Black Friday special,
Yeah,
but today they run, and historically they've run anywhere from $90 to $150.
Yeah.
They should not cost that much. It should be something that pet owners want, that give them more information than just the breed. Like, are there health things and things I can do for my dog?
That was going to be one of my
based on
questions.
stuff?
Can you buy your sample? Can you tell if something is going on with that dog? Kind of, sort of, not really.
Yeah, so not with poo prints, but what happened, like the technology we purchased and what happened is we can now, and we're starting to do that.
Okay.
So 2024, we realized, hey, we got to educate the world on DNA and its usefulness and come up with applications. We got to give our poo prints, we've got over 2 million poo prints customers. Like, we got to give them more with this to keep growing it. And so we started.
You said 2 million.
Yeah, over 2 million.
So you've got 2 million. Wow, that's what I was going to
Well, there's
ask.
4 million unregistered, probably.
Yeah, or probably more than that, but yeah.
Oh yeah. So there's 89 million dogs that live in the U.S.
We were way off.
Yeah, 89 million dogs. So, and we estimate that there are 35 million dogs that live in like rental communities.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
35
crazy.
million. So we start saying, hey, let's see. There's kind of a myth out there, and I guess most people know this if you start looking. A lot of genetic testing, human, dog, anything that you go by or you see this company is doing this, they don't own that product or that service from end to end. What happens is a guy sitting there with an idea.
They're an advertisement, basically.
They're marketing. They've developed the app. They've come up with the idea. They go to a lab company to say, hey, will you run this test for us? Because people don't want to invest in this. I mean, this is not. Look at it. It's not cheap.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Right. And we got 15 people. We got 15 analysts back there every day, doing work. We got support staff downstairs. So we said, all right, we're now at this. We got this building. We got this size. We can handle this volume. Let's go out to those companies and see if we can't process their samples, because most of them are going to lab companies that process everything from humans to food. Cows.
Oh, so they're doing it.
Yeah. And when
Huge
volumes.
Yeah.
I mean, $100 million companies, $1 billion companies. But dogs and cats fall to the last. So if you got an open machine, run some dog plates.
Yeah.
We're running dogs every day. So we started developing a relationship with companies. And Ancestry.com had come out with a Know Your Pet test that they were selling to consumers. Great organization. We were big fans of them, and they are also like the staple. When you think of DNA and human DNA,
Ancestry.
Yeah, that's what you
Ancestry.
think of.
Yeah.
first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
So we started partnering with them to resell their test to our pet owners. Did some integration, some testing. Like when you register for poo prints, you can take that same swab and you can upgrade it to this test to know the breed, know the health, know the disease. And it was going really well. We were early in our launch, selling a lot of tests, doing a lot of things. And about that time, Ancestry decided they wanted to do some pivoting, and things were going well for us. And so we had the ability to say, hey, we'd like to acquire that Know Your Pet technology, IP, and just use it for how we want to do it. So we worked through some logistics that weren't easy. It's a big organization, right?
Oh,
We're just
yeah.
little small East Tennessee folks. And we were able to acquire Know Your Pet.
Yeah.
So now we
It's
can,
phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
It was
That's
a
awesome.
blessing. I mean, it was, we were lucky.
Now, is that thanks to you?
No. I mean, it took a whole team.
Yeah.
It is like, here's what we pride ourselves on.
Who thought of that?
Our team. did.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. We knew there's certain companies we wanted to work with and we didn't want to work
Yeah.
with, right? But what we do pride ourselves on as an organization is we are a lot of fun to work with. We're honest, we're open, we're going to do the right thing. And, because our whole thing has always been, we're talking about dog poop, right?
Right.
You
You're joking around
Yeah.
about it.
And we had an old sales guy, Ernie, and that was his whole thing. Like somebody be in a bad mood, or I'd come in and I'd be all grumpy, and he was our original sales guy. And you may have to bleep this one too, but he'd say, we're just talking about dog shit. Get over it. But so what I think, what was great is a small organization like us. One, they had a scientist that was on their team who came from the animal space that helped with that product. She had heard of us and interacted with us in some international organizations that we were a part of. But we reach out and we visit them and we talk about what we're doing and our ideas. And they said, hey, we just like working with you guys. Like and that's what it came down to. Is like, hey, if we're not going to take Know Your Pet forward, we want a group like you all to be able to take it and run with it and not have some big transaction in sales. Like we want to put it in the hands of people we know that have a passion and will do
They'll
something
keep
with it.
going with it and not let it lay down. Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. So I was thinking while you said that there, you said you were in 7 countries.
Yep.
So
Are you going to make me name them?
no, you don't have to name them. But I'm wondering how is does kind of irrelevant, but how's the hiring? How's that work? How's the hiring process work?
So we have been blessed. We kind of joke. We focus on the English-speaking countries, and we run them from here. So that,
Okay.
I mean, U.S. I will name them just so like U.S.
This is a test for
Yeah,
it. There we go.
See if I can get them right. U.S., Canada, Mexico. Now, there's some English down there. The U.K., Ireland, Israel, Australia. Now, in Australia's,
I figured you would have said New Zealand.
well, we've got, and New Zealand. So 8 now.
Look at that.
Look at that. The second floor has broken news. That's right. New Zealand. And we have a great partner down there. She's actually going to kill me.
How about
you
that?
had to bring it up. Yeah. Now so New Zealand and Australia, we're still working on logistics. So, back to, and New Zealand, Australia, that expansion has come out of the Know Your Pet line because they were doing a lot of stuff down there previously. So there was some relationships there we could continue and expand on. But those 2 countries have been dying for poo prints. So that is where we're getting ready to start do some expansion.
Heck yeah.
That's awesome.
Let's go down there.
Now, logistics, like I say, we're working through. The cool thing about our kits is, we have the stabilizing solution. So once it's in there, it is preserved. I mean, we have had bottles with poop in them that have been sitting on shelves for months that we've been able to test and still get results. Yeah.
Well, so the U.S. Postal Service, you don't have to worry about that.
Our mailman hates us.
I bet he does.
We take care of him. But he, we even pick up our own mail now just because it got.
To the point to what
Yeah.
it is now, I'm
It was-
sure.
it was
Usually,
totes.
like daily. What did you say daily there? You had said it earlier.
So, we'll get thousands. So like this morning for swabs, she brought in 4 trays. Each tray has about 200. So, and that's, that can be a light day and it can vary. Mondays are obviously horrible. For our waste,
Why is Mondays horrible?
Because Saturday and Sunday.
You get Friday,
okay.
Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
And really, it's funny. Tuesdays.
But see, now your swabs is your kids, correct? Is that new dogs?
That's new dogs registered.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that is new dogs
Yeah.
registered.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And waste, we only do about 40,000, pieces of waste poop a year. Sometimes we've done 50. Our whole thing is if the program's working,
It should go down.
it should go down.
Yeah.
Now, but
Right.
as you grow with new customers, the volume. So technically, the volume always.
Yeah, so maybe it
remains
stays
constant.
flat.
Yeah.
Maybe that number
Now-
is the number.
I want to do a new marketing campaign or my whole thing right now is we never want to process another turd again. Right? Like,
Yeah.
let's challenge, if everybody's actually, picking up, we go out of business. Yeah.
This
What
is
if we
it.
can get there? Yeah. That's
Yeah.
why we got to get lab services. So I forget where we were. We're still in 24, 25, 26, basically.
20. Yeah.
We're 26 now.
26.
You had
We're
mentioned the
today.
newest machines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we purchased Know Your Pet. We're using those tests still to allow poo prints people to upgrade. We had been working on additional health markers and a genetic test before that purchase. So now, and we're processing samples for other companies. We were able to get some of that moving. Now we're working to combine what we bought that was Know Your Pet with some other, the markers and panels we were working on to create like a super test. And what we're doing is we're going out to brands and companies that are known today that exist, that have products and services that people trust and use. And we're showing them where DNA can be affordable and can be a value add and accompany the things you're already doing today. So if you had like we talked about earlier, if you had a genetic test and based on your dog's genetic makeup and breed and other health characteristics, you knew exercise, products, vitamins, medicines to take,
Yeah. Yeah.
your dog will live that much longer.
Yeah.
And that's what we want.
Yeah. That's when Bo first said that we were getting Jay on, and I was like, okay. So I went and looked it up, and I was like, what in the world is going on here? I'm like, and I read a little bit, and I'm like, I don't understand. Like, did they just go pick up poop? I mean, I don't know what's this. So it's definitely cleared the air for sure. And I never would have imagined that the need for it. I mean, honestly, I would have never thought that.
Well, we wouldn't.
No, well, exactly. I mean,
Not
we
me
live.
and you.
Yeah. For where
Not
we live
saying
and
people
stuff.
living here,
Well,
but-
and I've never lived in an apartment complex
Right,
or
that's what I
anything
mean.
like that. But I see now. I see exactly the reason for it and what it is. So
Isn't it funny the things you think about, the niches that exist in the world that you hear about, products and services and where people are making money or doing things that you're like,
I would have never thought of that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the first thing I thought of when we started this this discussion was how many times have me and you been talking and say,
That's a good idea.
you've got to think about like the most random thing you could ever think of, and how can you make money on it? Boy, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it.
It's like dirty jobs, like Micro's dirty jobs. We're redefining that every day.
Absolutely.
I love Micro.
Yeah.
He's great.
But we want, and exactly what you all said too. Today, like my next door neighbor has no clue what poo prints means about genetic testing. Hell, doesn't even know what Know Your Pet is, right?
Yeah.
Or how he owns a dog, and I keep trying to tell him every day. Like, these are
Does he know what you do? I mean,
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
he
but-
quit pooping in my yard, but nobody poops in my yard in the neighborhood. That's for sure. But how do we make it a household thing where it's just
make it to
accepted?
where, like we need to do this. Almost like the chips,
Yep.
we need to make, you make your business like you sell it to me, to Bo, to my neighbors, you know what I mean? You sell it to us as you got to have this. Don't chip your dog, do this.
Well,
if you
yeah,
get to
it's
that
it's
point.
the appealing factor is
Yeah.
what it is. I mean, the microchips, if you care about your dog, that appeals to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
and then the fact that you could do away with that microchip, I mean,
It's incredible.
you know, this you
incredible.
can't do away with. I mean, it's appealing.
It's
That is
not,
appealing.
That's
I mean,
not
that-
at
I feel
all
like
like,
that's a hook.
I think that is the hook is DNA's not going away. It's there. It's
there.
it's
And
black
it's-
and white.
and it's
That's
the
it.
same.
Yeah.
So, if you all, today it's time, right? Like you you can't run a swab on a dog and get it back in time. Like the shelters would go broke, right?
Yeah.
But it is getting better and better. So have you heard about the swabbing that happens in intake and in jail facilities? So you go
Probably seen it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you get arrested.
Not personally. let me clear that up.
Hold on. This evidence.
I've probably been swabbed.
We need to talk about some things, I
Is
guess.
there anything you want to share with people at home about it? Do you want to talk through this? Now's a great time to confess.
The TV. Internet.
So, you're going to get home tonight and you've got to talk through
Financing.
Finances.
and your criminal history.
Yeah, criminal past there. I got a big rap sheet.
But you get arrested. And some states, it could be jaywalking, right? But you get arrested. Some states, I think it's certain crimes. When you are in booking, they swab your mouth and they put it in a machine right then and there that can run that swab
instantly.
and upload it to CODIS. So that is coming for dogs. That basically you could swab that carcass, you could swab the dog you just picked up on the street, put it in the machine, and it may take a day or two, but it's like analyzing it. So like all the steps that we've walked through, they involve chemicals and different things. These little machines are starting to get to the point where they can do all of those steps right there. Now it's getting cheaper and it's getting quicker. And when that happens, you won't need chips.
Yeah. I'm way more on board for something like that than I am freaking flock cameras. So, I'd much rather that happen.
But and I haven't followed too much on the flock cameras, but isn't it just license plate readers? Because I'm going to get a flock camera for our front door.
I think you need one.
Yeah.
So it is, but
Supposedly supposed to be.
yeah, so
But it's
supposed to be
used
but-
out of its means.
Yeah, it can be for sure. It can definitely be abused, and I mean,
Well, they're already saying that it is being abused.
Well, the way I understand it is, it's not just it's a separate, and it's not like law enforcement is putting this in.
Right,
It's some other company. You know what I mean? What are they using it? Yeah, forget that.
As long as they don't try and say, "Hey, we can tell who's not picking up after their dog."
Yeah.
Because some people have tried that. But I need one out here to see who stole my. If anybody knows who stole the Poo-mobile's wheels and tires, call us. Yeah.
It's sitting on jacks currently.
Yeah, it is currently sitting on. Somebody's really happy with some rims out there, but we have zero.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So and ironically enough, the line of work that I'm in, I talk to so many people about their automobiles. I don't know that I have heard of that happening in 10 years or more.
Don't tell me that.
I'm dead serious.
Listen, when he told me that, I said, I thought this was supposed to be up in like a nice part of Knoxville.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like top tier.
And
Where
it is. That's-
Listen, I call this the 37919. We're in Sequoia Hills here, right? Nobody's jacking tires
No.
in Sequoia Hills.
I didn't even know that it was still a thing, to be honest with
It's
you.
not. Only for you.
I know, and maybe it was an angry resident. Some of the people here in the office are determined that some resident here in Knoxville got fined for dog poop. And they said, "I'll show them."
They're coming for
Yeah.
your wheels.
They probably thought we came out and collected it too. So they
Yeah.
ain't collecting anything now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll show them.
We're gonna make it
They'll
hard
have to
for
walk
them.
to my house next time.
Right.
You should get out and ride a bike around with a poop print helmet on. They're like, "Oh yeah, we got him."
In full green spandex. With a poop emoji. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, this has certainly been a crappy conversation.
It's been horrible. Yeah. We've got some swag for y'all. I'm sending you home with stickers.
I love the
that
sticker.
says,
I'm putting it right on the back of the kids' backpack.
There you go. The teachers love it when it says "Get your together." I'm sorry. Maybe that's 3 bleeps.
That's
They're
fine.
trying,
That's perfectly fine.
We're setting records tonight.
We may have just been banned.
Yeah, we might get a a letter. But this has been great.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's been
I
awesome.
appreciate it. I hope,
Absolutely
you know,
awesome.
We bounced around a little bit. I hope it all makes
I just want to get
sense.
together sometime next time just to hang out.
Yeah.
This has been amazing.
You know, we've got to have you all back when everybody's here. You know, I think you meet the team, you see.
Oh, I think we get a little clip from everybody. What's about the job? That would be awesome.
See who wants to sit down and talk. We can get
We could just get a quick little snip, here and
Yeah.
there. Who wants to say something?
Yeah.
We do. We have. You can imagine, and we've always joked about this. Dog poop brings out very eclectic people.
Oh, I'd
But
imagine that.
Yeah, but the passion that our team has for just our programs and genetics and pets and working together is awesome.
Right. Well, it seems like it's everything. I mean, I'm not seeing anything operating, but it seems like everything's very well put together.
Laid
Everything
out.
is cut and dry. I mean, it's what it is. Very, very straightforward. Everything's really nice.
Well, if there is a spin-off of any kind of a dog poop podcast from anybody, we started it.
Yeah, that's it.
It started here.
We'll make sure you get your cut. We'll start one that says "Let's talk."
Beep.
Yeah. There probably is that out there, I'd say, when it comes to names. And
Well, if
stuff.
you've got things like "Who's your daddy,"
Yeah.
why couldn't we say, "Hey, let's talk"?
Oh, you definitely can. There's no restrictions on that. But no, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's
Thanks
been
for letting us
awesome.
use the
Absolutely.
place. It's been great.
It was definitely an experience.
Yeah. And how can people get in contact with you if they want to use your services?
Yeah, listen, if you can,
I don't have a dog no more. Sorry to interrupt. I don't have a dog no more, but I just want to get a dog now. Another dog to
Just to
call
do
Jay
this.
up and,
Yeah.
and fix it.
So, we've talked about a lot of stuff. It's BioPet's the company. We've got Poo Prints, Know Your Pet. We are kind of a house of brands. So you can always go to biopetlabs.com. You can go to pooprints.com, or you can go to knowyourpetdna.com.
All right.
And you can learn more about us.
There it is.
Yeah.
Well, I've had a good time here.
It's
thank
been
you.
awesome for sure.
It's
Been great.
It's a nice place, man. Thanks for
Thank you.
having us.
And I'm looking forward to having y'all back.
Absolutely.
All right, well, we'll do it.
Tune back in with us next time on Second Floor Session.
Y'all have a good night. Thanks.